Boom, boom, boom. Hey everyone. Hey everyone. So weird to do that.
l.shima here, obviously.
l.shima here, and welcome
everyone
to Be Cool.
Be Cool.
Be cool. If you do not know who I am, then you need to Google me right now. It is another fabulous episode. Today's a very special day. It is a fabulous, fabulous Wednesday. Wednesday's always kind of a good day. Yay! Awesome! Man, my voice just squeaked like crazy.
Awesome. Fuck yeah.
Pencils down. Let the show begin. Hey everyone! I tend to say that introduction all the time. I'm not sure why. I don't know if y'all saw last week's YouTube video or audio on SoundCloud that I posted, but I did a new intro for the fact that, and even on Ustream, I'm gonna have to change it too, but I have to do a new intro and also, what would you call it, the end version of an intro? I don't even know what you would call that. But anyways, I have to do a new one because I, obviously can get in trouble for playing music and all that other stuff, and I can still technically get in trouble for doing it on Ustream. So one of these days I need to make a serious, super awesome intro to all of my awesome podcast episodes. But for the time being, and the technology that I have, I ended up making an intro for myself last week. And so if you watched last week's episode on YouTube or SoundCloud, I had it. And so, oh my God, it was literally just a pain. Because all I did was just get little snippets of all my episodes and place them together, and then I made my own little sound in the background. Yeah, it was ridiculous. You should have saw the process of making this. But anyways, so when I was clipping all of the sounds and the words that I was saying to make that, I noticed every time I do my podcast, every time the beginning starts with "Hey everyone," so, and then a laugh at the end, because I always just laugh at myself. But anyway, so one of these days I need to be I don't know, I need to learn a different language and introduce the podcast in Japanese or something fancy. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, nowhere. But welcome to episode 11 of Be Cool. Today is Wednesday, September 24th. Yes, I don't even know what day it is. The only day I do know is tomorrow, and it's because Akira, my Weimaraner puppy, is officially turning 1 year old tomorrow. 1 year old tomorrow. So technically 7 years. So it's kind of a big deal for me for the fact that my prior dog that I've had majority of my life, I never really knew her birthday. I just, obviously knew the kind of time frame that she was born around. And so I never really celebrated a dog's birthday. And some of y'all might be why are you going to celebrate a dog's birthday? Don't care. I know. But I don't have a child, and my dog is pretty much closely related to a child, in my opinion. Not really. I know that having a child is way more serious than having a dog, but you have to meet her. She's literally psycho. The people that have met her or have met her and actually do have kids, they're yeah, your dog is literally like a child. I'm yeah, seriously. So anyways, yeah, so tomorrow is her birthday, so give her all birthday wishes. Hopefully, I'll probably just give her peanut butter on a spoon or something. I don't know. I'm not rich enough to buy her a cake or anything, and I don't feel like her body is going to be capable of handling a cake, one of those dog cakes. Going so sidetracked, I don't even know. So yeah, welcome everyone, and let's begin. It is the first time in a while that I don't have a special guest. I mean, the special guest is me, so that's something to look forward to, right? Am I right? You know what I'm saying? But it is the first time in actually a while. 2 weeks was the last time I was here by myself. And I feel like it is best sometimes to give myself a break from interviewing. Not that interviewing is so hard or anything, but it's the process of me having to get it set up is always a pain in the ass. And so I'm behind the scenes flustered and trying to get everything set up and all this craziness that goes on in my world. But so like today when I got in, I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't have to wait for anyone to get on Skype. I literally am set. They don't have to watch me have like a freak out before the show starts and then them laughing at me because I'm a weirdo. And so it's just always fun that I can just take a breather and do everything the way I want to do it. So yay. On top of that, I'm actually not on my computer. I'm actually on Francis's computer. And after the few episodes that I've done, there has been major lagging. And I'm not sure. I mean, I'm kind of positive that it may be for the fact that it's because of Skype and how much, storage and space Skype takes up. But when I got the computer, the laptop that I have, it was last year, and my old computer just died out of nowhere. One day, just fucking passed away. And so I had to get work done, and it was like one of those serious matters, and I didn't really have any finances to buy a computer. So luckily I was able to make it work, but I had to get a cheap-ish one. It wasn't like cheap, but it was like not the highest quality one. And at that time, I wasn't planning on doing these podcasts, so I was like, oh, the RAM and the storage space doesn't matter. I mean, all I need to do is get on the internet and post all my stuff and then have a glorious day with it. So now that I've done the podcast, my computer can barely hold on to any of that information the entire time. Like, that's the main reason why I'm always nervous for this podcast, is for the fact that I'm worried about the lagging, and I technically won't know if it's going to lag until I push stream. And that's when I can see how much CPU percentage I'm using. It's like a brain explosion every time that happens. And so last week, it couldn't handle it whatsoever, and I was on not the lowest quality I could be, but it was on the middle lowest quality. And I didn't know at the time when I started, I noticed there was a lag, but then it eventually caught up to me. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be, simple. It's going to eventually catch up throughout the entire thing, and it'll be fine. No. It was perfect on Taylor, but when it was me in that little corner, I was yeah. Anyways. So I eventually need to get a new computer, and obviously my finances aren't that awesome. But soon I'll have everything set up awesome for my podcast. New computer, maybe 5 million monitors surrounding me. I only have one in this one, but whatever. And then having those professional microphones, so I sound awesome at the same time, and a better webcam. I mean, this one is actually 1080p, so I guess this one's awesome. It's just maybe it's the setup, because also I would need to have to buy an upgrade on the producer that I use on Ustream, and on top of it I need a hosting site and iTunes and this other podcast site that you can play all the stuff in. SoundCloud, I need more storage space on SoundCloud, so that's why every week I have to delete a whole new episode, because my SoundCloud doesn't have enough information to host it for free. So I'm like, God, at least YouTube has my back, man. God. Anyways, just rambling. So one day I'll have all the technology in the world, and so far, yeah, it is my computer, because currently Francis's computer is literally at only 10-12%. Yeah, and mine typically is always hanging around the 80 to 90 to 100%. It's ridiculous. All right, so since I don't have a special guest tonight, you have to endure the pain of l.shima. It's that bad. It's not bad at all. Trust me. I'm sure you're actually going to enjoy this episode, and if not, then I don't care. Just kidding. I do care. I always care. But if you don't enjoy, then obviously you can leave at any point or whatever. And this is also a episode that I really would love your opinion and your questions and whatever else you want to throw at me. I would really love it. If you don't have it, it's fine. I mean, I'm not going to cry. I might, behind doors, I'll cry. But no, I seriously would like as much, from y'all as possible. even more from my other prior podcasts. I mean, y'all are awesome every time on my prior ones. Everyone's like talking. Last week with Taylor, it was barely any questions from anyone. It was more like these people already knowing Taylor and just having a conversation with each other. It was the most adorablest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So anyways, but yes, definitely I would love as many questions and opinions and comments and concerns and stories even. If you have a freaking story related to any of this, it would be awesome. Okay, you're probably wondering why I'm rambling so much and what is the topic. Sorry. I'm like excited and like happy. Anyways, that's a good thing. Anyways, this week's episode or topic is going to be about relationships. Yay! Relationships. I'm sure everyone can relate on some sort of like factor or like scale or like weight or whatever you want to describe it, because everyone has a relationship some point in their life, either once or a billion times. We all have been there, we've all done that kind of thing. I mean, some people have done a lot more, some people have done a lot less, but none the fact it's all kind of circling around each other in similar things. And I figured this would be a nice topic to discuss about, especially about my relationships. And when I say relationships, I do mean like, I guess you would say intimate relationships, like boyfriends or girlfriend. Well, I don't have girlfriends, but you know, someone that you're kind of more intimate than with your friends or your family members. And so I felt like this would be awesome, and I feel like people would love to know kind of already what it's like to date me, but also what it was like in the past of me dating others. And I guess I've had a few questions on Tumblr, even on Twitter, not on Facebook, but of people asking, you know, what type of race am I into, or who's, you know, the type of guy that I'm interested in, and all this other stuff, especially like marriage. So I'll talk about the marriage part if y'all ever see me talk about that on Tumblr before. But yeah, so anyways, let me get started before I'm rambling for the next 5 hours and y'all are like, I thought we were talking about something. Anyways, let me see, what would be the best way to start this topic? I think starting with elementary school might be the best. And yes, my relationship started in elementary school. Like, seriously, I'm not joking with you. I'm really bad at ages and years. I know I always watch other people talk about something in their life or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, the year was 1890 and I was in the 7th grade. I'm like, I would have to sit here for a few minutes and count what year and what grade and what age was I in that grade. I don't remember any of that stuff. The only one I do remember is I graduated in 2010 at the age of 17, almost 18. So that's the only thing I know by heart. So yeah, elementary school. I lived in Austin, Texas, for those that still to this day do not know where I'm from. But I lived in Austin, Texas, and it was in northwest Austin area. And I went to school called Jollyville Elementary. And throughout this entire episode, or this topic, I'm not going to give out names of the actual people that were involved in any of these relationships with me. I was thinking I can just say he, or even if a she was involved, but then I feel like that might get confusing with so many different names. So I'll give everyone a fake name, and know that fake name is not their real name. And it's me in my top of my head, having to think of an instant different name. It's gonna be hard. I might, accidentally slip. I don't know. We'll see. Because I don't know who knows me from elementary, middle school, or high school, or even, when I went to ACC for, a semester. I don't know who knows me that watches this, so I don't want to, hurt anyone's feelings. I'm not even meaning to hurt anyone's feelings. This is what I went through, and I don't know if they went through or thought anything the same, and if they did, and whatever. Anyways, I'm rambling again. Okay, I'm just excited. All right, so it was elementary school, and like I said, I don't really remember the year. I'm trying to remember my actual grade that I was in. I was technically kind of young-ish when I had my quote-unquote first boyfriend. I want to say I was between third and 4th grade. It has to be. I really, maybe it was 4th grade. Anyways, okay, so it doesn't really matter that much. But I did start dating. It wasn't even freaking dating because you're in 4th grade. You don't even know what the hell you're doing at that age. But I was seeing another child the same age as me at the time, or he should still be the similar age as me. But I started seeing this kid around 4th grade, and he was, I'm trying to think without, like, trying to be rude or even, like, too nice or something. I don't know. I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to be fucking real with you. His name was, God, I'm trying to think of a random effing name. His name is Scott. Okay, we'll say Scott. He doesn't look like a Scott. But anyways, his name is Scott, and I don't even really know how we became technically boyfriend and girlfriend. I just remember the fact that I guess we both, like, were attracted to each other. I even knew what that was in 4th grade. And so one of my friends goes up and tells him that, hey, Shima's really, thinks you're cute, but, she doesn't really want to ask you herself, kind of thing. You know how it's like. And somehow the pieces added up, and we ended up, like, him coming up to me one day and saying, hey, Shima, will you be my girlfriend? And I'm like, yes, I will definitely be your girlfriend, Scott. Oh my god. I don't know if I was really like that, but I probably was. So, there's not really much of a story behind Scott. It's just like, there is definitely a few stories. Okay, so I'm gonna just skip the intro because there's not really anything to talk about other than these two things. So, he was my first kiss. My first kiss was somebody that wasn't my family member. And I feel like I might have talked about this in one of my podcasts or even on my Tumblr questions. If I did, you're going to just have to listen to it again and get over it because I don't remember. But my first kiss involved me and Scott as well as my best friend at the time, and I would assume this kid was Scott's best friend, but we all didn't really stay best friends when we got older. Anyways, and so it was recess time, and in my school, we had the playscape, and then you had, like, kind of this forestry area, like, right next to it with trees, but they kind of cut down a lot of the trees so the teachers could still see kids roaming around in it and stuff. So we went to the farthest area of the trees where we were kind of hidden from all the teachers and stuff. And I remember I don't even really remember how the question, like, hey, Shima and Scott should, have their first kiss right now. But somehow it happened, and it was me and Scott, like, right next to each other, like, almost, he was, like, probably that close from me, maybe a little farther. But anyways, he was pretty close to me, and then my friend and his friend kind of, like, made a circle, like, kind of like a gate to block us. And they were like, okay, do it now. And me and, Scott were very nervous about it. I'm like, I don't know, are you ready? And I don't know, are you ready? Kind of like awkward 4th grade kind of thing. And so just somehow, I don't know, we just said, fuck it, whatever, let's go. And so he aims for my lips, but kisses my nose. That was my first kiss from a different person other than my family member. And I think he may, eventually like, all right, let me fix this real fast and kiss me on the lips. But just the instant moment that he kissed me on my nose, and I do believe my friend giggled about it, I was so embarrassed about it. Like, super, like, I can't believe that just happened. So, Lisa's ends, and I'm, like, crying my freaking eyes out. And my teacher's even like, Shima, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? And I couldn't freaking tell her that, I got kissed on the nose for the first time in my entire life. Yeah, that's why I'm crying. So I had to pretend like nothing happened, which was, obviously not the truth. But yeah, that was my first kiss. It wasn't as awesome, but it's definitely a memorable experience. I will always remember that for the day I die. So I guess that is awesome that it wasn't like the standard boring kiss, but whatever. Like, it sucked at that moment. So today it's kind of funny. So with Scott, again, we weren't really dating because we're 4th grade. We can't go anywhere by ourselves kind of thing. And we weren't going to do anything except for, like, hang out and play games, I guess. And so, I ended up breaking up with him because my friend told me to. So peer pressure on that. Sorry, Scott, for doing that the first time. I apologize. But yeah, I just broke up with him for pretty much no reason. And ever since then, it just kind of went weird between us. Like, we still thought we were, like, attracted to each other. So then one day he had his friend come up to me and say, hey, Scott's really, really likes you, wants to know if you want to go back out again. And so I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So we go out, and then, I'm not kidding, a week later, and we would barely talk to each other because we didn't have the same class. So we would see each other in the hallway, wave, and then go on our merry way. And so I remember a week later, his friend comes back to me and tells me, hey, Scott has a crush on you. He wants to know if you want to go out again. In my head, I'm like, when did we break up in the first place? Nobody came to me and told me that we broke up, first of all. Second of all, okay, fine, we can go back out, but that's what? All right. And then that process kind of happened like a couple more times, and it made no sense. And again, I was young. I didn't know any better, but I'm like, all right, at this point, I'm like, no, we got to stop this. I don't know how we just stopped in general, but we're just like, all right, this just not going to work. So he was technically my first and only boyfriend in elementary school, but, it was fun. You're young, you have fun, you don't do anything, but you think you're doing so much in the world, and you're so old, and all this other stuff. So, anyways, so then we cut into middle school, and my middle school was called Deer Park. We used to call it Queer Park, because, nothing against, like, gays or anything. Gays are awesome, but I don't know why. It just rhymed, and we called it that. But that was my, like, again, quote-unquote dating, like, marathon. I don't know the best way to call it. I was going to show, but I don't, man, it's too late. Anyways, I have this little notebook, and I still have it. Basically, it's called the boyfriend list. Yeah, you can make fun of me all you want. So funny. I still have it, and it's the fact that I've updated it. Don't judge me on it, but I have updated it. And I don't know why I started it, but I think I started for the fact that in middle school, I had so many boyfriends. Like, it was ridiculous. And to the point where, obviously, we didn't even last that long. Like, the longest maybe was, I didn't last even close to, I almost lasted with one as close to a month as possible. But all the other ones fell below that. And that was just a time when you get to explore, and your body is, like, telling you all these weird things, and I don't know, I'm just making excuses. But anyways, yeah, I had, like, maybe, there's 3 grades in middle school. I'm not exaggerating. I literally probably had about 9 boyfriends, maybe? No, 9 boyfriends in middle school. Nothing sexual. I mean, there was kissing, but nothing, like, not going there. But nothing happened that extreme. But, yeah, I had, like, 9 boyfriends, maybe 10. I don't know. But, God, I don't even know why I dated all those people. It was no reason. I don't even think I actually had a moment of being single in my entire life. I mean, I have, but more than a few years, no, I've never had that moment in my life. I don't know why that even happens to me. But I'm trying to think of which boy I would like to talk about the most. Like, what? All right, so this boy, his name is Jose. I'm trying my hardest to think of names. His name's Jose, and he was actually dating another girl at the time. And I remember we were at the dance. Oh, those lovely middle school dances. And, you're having fun. For me, I was dancing to Usher. Yeah, getting down with it. And I don't know why I just did that. And anyways, so I was, dancing with my girlfriends and having a good time. And then I remember somebody coming up to me and saying, hey, Jose and Erica broke up. And I'm like, oh, that's sad. That sucks. And they're like, yeah, but I hear that he has a crush on you. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to get into all that. That's it's a little too much right now, a little too fast, you know. They just broke up. Like, what the heck? So anyways, I'm like dancing with my girlfriends, and then another girl comes up to me and says, hey, Jose wants to dance with you, like on a slow dance. And so I go to his, I guess, current ex-girlfriend and ask her, I tell her, like, what's up and what's going on and all this other stuff. And she's like, yeah, just, it's fine. Go crazy. Go have fun type thing. So I'm like, all right. So if he was going to come up to me and ask me for a dance, I wasn't going to say no. But if he wasn't, then not my issue. I'm not going to freaking dance with you. So he does, and we do that whole, like, the girl's arm is on the guy's neck, and the guy's hand is on the waist, and probably trying to go lower. That's what I hear from Francis, that you boys do when you're slow dancing with girls at that time. You're like, you're at the waist, but you want to go down. Anyways, so yeah, you're doing that, like, awkward, like, side to side, and then you look at each other in the eye, and then you're like, you look in each other's eye and you're like, I don't know if I want to have eye contact or no eye contact or what. And so the dance ends, and again, I'm really bad with my stories sometimes, but it's just about me remembering all of this stuff. But somehow we just ended up dating and going out, and I remember he gives me a Beanie Baby, one of the fuzzy ones. The ironic thing, Francis bought me the exact same Beanie Baby when we kind of first started going out. So when he gave me that, I'm like, that's really creepy that you gave me this. Anyways, but Jose gave me the little fuzzy Beanie Baby because I used to collect Beanie Babies when I was little. And he also gave me a burnt CD of 50 Cent's G-Unit CD. I think that was what it was called. I don't remember. Maybe. Somebody has to correct me on that. But, yeah. So, I don't know why, but I got just tired of the relationship. Nothing was happening. It was just boring. So, I broke up with him. And to be honest, I, for the longest, was the broken upper. Yeah, I broke up with everyone except for one. And that guy's name is... I'm trying to think. Tony. Okay, we'll do Tony. His name was Tony, and I only dated him because his lips were oh so luscious. They were like even like lusher than mine. They were like pretty much like that, like plump and like big. I don't know why, but I was attracted to that when I was younger. So I was like, all right, awesome. Like, I want to hook up with him. Let's try to make that work. And somehow that worked. Somehow, my girlfriends went and told him that I had a crush on him. I feel like in middle school, you just do that. Somebody says you have a crush on them, and you just hook up, and then that's it. So that's pretty much how you get by. Anyways, so let's see. Yeah, so I wanted to only date him because of his luscious lips. And we were so close to not hooking up. No. We were so close to making it an entire month. Like, it was to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm about to have, like, my curse lifted off me. I'm about to make it to a month with one of my relationships. This is like a new start for my life. Nope. This fool wants to break up with me. I'm not hurt by it anymore. That was a long time ago. But at the time, I was super hurt for the fact that, one, we didn't even get to a month. We were like 2 days away from being a month, and you want to break up with me? And two, you broke up with me. I'm the breaker-upper. You don't break up with me. So yeah, Tony ended it with me 2 days before a month. So that's, yeah, whatever. His lips weren't all that awesome anyways, you know? Whatevs. Anyways. So, in middle school, I feel like, so everyone that just showed up, Tuckman, I noticed you just arrived, so I'm talking about relationships, and everyone else that just arrived, I'm talking about relationships. If you have any stories about your time in elementary school, your first boyfriend, your first girlfriend, your first lover, your first whatever, first kiss, makeup session, marriage, whatever you want to talk about, throw it up there. Like, I'll get to a lot of stuff. I'm just trying to, like, go through my past real fast. But yeah, comments, concerns, well, I can't really, well, I guess you can do compliments still, but questions, stories that you have, I would, like, this is the time to actually, like, be involved. I was, like, really deep in that B. Anyways, so yeah, go crazy, have fun with it. I always say that, but seriously, give me some good stuff, like some, like, that is a good story, or a good question, or whatever. Anyways, okay, back to what I was talking about. So, anyways, in my middle school days, this is like me just reminiscing on my life. So, if you're watching this video, like for the YouTubers, I'm literally, or even the SoundClouds, the people that just listen to the audio, I'm literally just like staring off into the world trying to think of what I'm talking about. Anyways, all right. God, I keep rambling. It's my issue. Anyways. Middle school was also the time, again, when your body is like changing and you're growing up a little different than what you were used to, and it's time to experiment. And I didn't experiment that crazy. Get your little mind out of the gutter. The only experiment I did in middle school was making out. Yes, it was my first makeout session, and I will say her name because she's my best friend. But Leanne, Leanne was dating this guy named Joseph. That's not his name, but I'm going to make it his name. Leanne was dating this guy named Joseph, and his best friend was Derek. I'm hoping that I remember these names too. His name was Derek. And Leanne always was hanging out with Joseph, and obviously Joseph was hanging out with Derek, so all four of us was always together. And I thought Derek was cute, but I even think I wrote about him in like one of those journals. Oh my god, that's Jesus. Anyways, so we were always hanging out, and, you know, Joseph and Leanne were doing their thing and having a blast with what they were doing, but it always left me and Derek, like, in the dust, kind of, and, like, that kind of, like, that second wheel or whatever you call it, third wheel kind of situation, but it was more than that. Anyways, so there was one day we all went to the neighborhood elementary school. It wasn't mine. It was Leanne's elementary school, but we went over there, and we were all hanging out, trying to be badass and shit. And so I remember Leanne and Joseph go and do their thing, so it leaves me and Derek alone. And just one thing led to another, and we started making out. It was not even an awesome story. I kind of led like it was going to be awesome, but it wasn't awesome. I mean, it was like, obviously at the time it was awesome. Like, it was the first makeout session. It didn't go wrong, so there was no, like, making out with my nostrils or something, like the first kiss. It, like, went smoothly. I don't know if there was any grabbing. I don't remember any of that, but yeah, it was pretty extreme in a good way. And I remember afterwards I told my other friend about it, and she's like, no way. And I'm like, I'm a grown-up now. I just made up somebody, you know? I'm that cool. No. But yeah, my first makeout session was in middle school. Man, I don't even know what I don't even know what any of these people are really doing with their life anymore. Seriously. Like, I have Facebook, obviously, but I only technically use it to stalk people. And then recently I deleted majority of my Facebook friends because I didn't really know them, or I did know them, but I don't talk to them anymore. And there's no effing point anymore because on my Facebook feed, nonstop effing drama and negativity, and it was things that I don't want to read about and listen to about. Like, it's just, I don't want to clog my head with all that bad stuff. So I just deleted everyone that I didn't care about. So sorry, people, that you were my Facebook friend and I deleted you. I'm sorry, but you had to go. There's some of them that I deleted it because I just felt like, I didn't really know you, so I don't feel right stalking you because I don't know you that well, so I'm just gonna delete you. But majority of them, I was like, yeah, you're just negative all the time. There's no reason. So yeah, I don't even know what half of these people are doing. Yeah. Anyways. I had this one kid, and his name was Aaron. His name was Aaron, and he came up and asked me out. And I didn't really think he was cute at all. Ow. I didn't think he was cute at all whatsoever, but I felt bad. He, like, took the strength to ask me out. And I would have felt bad if I said no, like, honestly. So I'm like, whatever, you know, the worst case scenario, it just doesn't work out and we break up. So I ended up agreeing to going out with him, and I don't know how long we dated, but we ended up trying as hard as we could, and there was just no way, and I'm pretty sure I broke up with him. I wonder if I broke any of these people's hearts. Like, seriously. I don't know if I did, but for those that were one of those significant others at that time in my life and I broke up with you, I am super sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. It's just, you know, there's times when you gotta move forward and live your life. You weren't coming with that life with me. I'm sorry. I'm serious. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. I'm seriously sorry. But anyways, yeah, so I broke up with him, and that wasn't, obviously our relationship wasn't, like, that awesome because there wasn't, like, an awesome story to that, but the story involving, what name did I give him? Aaron. The story that involved Aaron it was Valentine's Day, and I was in 7th grade in middle school, and, or was it, yeah, I was in 7th grade. I think I was in 7th grade. And he decides to ask my best friend at the time, Jennifer. That's her real name. I don't know why I'm telling you. Like, you would know. But, yeah, at the time, my best friend, Jennifer, he decides to ask her out. And so I found that out, and I thought that was really sweet. Like, I wasn't hurt by it. I thought that was awesome. He's moving on. But he was really, oh, my God. He was such a sweetheart because he bought me and Leanne these huge-ass freaking Hershey, like, kisses for Valentine's Day, right? Yeah, he bought me and Leanne that. Like, we're not dating anymore, but he bought me and Leanne that. Like, that was how sweet he was. But he not only bought the huge-ass Hershey kiss thing, but he also bought, like, a teddy bear and a rose and maybe some other stuff for Valentine's Day to give to Jennifer, to say, hey, Jennifer, will you be my Valentine and, like, go out with me kind of thing. It was so sweet of how he did it, but we all knew Jennifer didn't really want to go out with him. It was so sad, but I don't remember if she ended up just going out with him or not, but it was just so sweet how he just, like, gave the best friends gifts so they don't feel bad. That was so sweet of him. And on top of it, but gave, like, triple the amount of stuff to Jennifer and asked her out. Like, if he ever did that to me on Valentine's Day, I would probably cry and be like, yeah, we can get married right now if you want to. You just gave me all this free stuff and I'm gonna eat it and, like, enjoy it kind of thing. But it was so cute. Anyways, that's that story. Funny. I'm trying to, like, relax. Get comfortable. I'm gonna be here for a minute. So then there was tons more people in my middle school, but those are the kind of ones that stood out. Like, I prepped this, like, 5 minutes before this podcast started, so I'm, like, writing down, like, names, like, okay, what's the story behind this person? What was that guy's name? Anyways. So, yeah, there was a lot of them, but they didn't last, and obviously they just weren't worth mentioning, but they were awesome at the time. They just, didn't last. So then we get into high school, and high school, I didn't have as many boyfriends. I had 2 in total, and it actually, my first serious boyfriend finally happened, and it was awesome. For the time being, it was awesome. His name was... my screen turned black. His name was... Damn it. Trying to think of just a... Okay, his name was Wilson. I don't know why Wilson's coming in my head, but Wilson is. And so, alright. So, me and Wilson was a year older than me. And when we actually started first dating, I didn't even get into high school yet. Like, I was in 8th grade, that 8th grade summer when you're about to get into high school, that summer before you entered high school. And that's when we kind of met. His friends was always hanging out at the park, and my friends were doing the same too. And we had, like, mutual friends kind of thing. And so I remember we'd always be staring at each other from across the room, just, like, awkwardly staring. Oh, my God. And we never talked to each other. Like, seriously, never talked to each other. so I don't even know how our relationship lasted so long, but somehow we just, yeah, I don't even really remember how it even happened, but somehow we just ended up dating. Um, I'm sure he asked me out, but when we first started, like that first 2 weeks, we didn't even really say a word to each other. He was really good friends with my best friend Allison, so he would go and like talk to her and stuff like that, but like wouldn't say a word to me, and I'm his girlfriend. So I'm kind of like, this is like not how a relationship is supposed to happen. Like, or is it? I don't know. It's just a little weird. So I let it coast, and eventually it got a lot better as it progressed on. We started talking, and like we would be kind of lovey-dovey and type thing, and all this craziness. And so I remember, that was in beginning of high school, and so he technically was my first love. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he was my first love, and the first time too as well, the first sex moment of my life. Yeah, so I remember that age. I was 14 when I lost my virginity. Awesome, right? Yeah, I know. Anyways, so nothing special happened with it, like with the whole sex thing. But it was just the fact that he was my first love, and I thought he meant the world to me. Like, I would die without him. Like, I wasn't gonna be, the person who I am today without him. I wanted to marry him and have his kids and all that crazy stuff, right? Yeah. In high school, like early high school, and you're thinking this, man, it's crazy. But anyways, so, we're getting close to, I think, a year or two. How late? I think we dated for 2 years, actually, honestly. I really can't remember. But I think it was 2 years. And he ends up having to move out of Austin. His dad, something happens to his dad, and so he had to go back to Louisiana with his mom. Yeah, I'm giving too much information right now. But anyways, he had to eventually move back to Louisiana, and we tried to make the long distance thing work. I mean, again, we're in high school, and then like, we didn't have a car, so it wasn't like we were gonna see each other ever. But we tried to make the long distance thing work out, and it just didn't. There was just rumors, people talking. I hear that he's talking to another girl behind my back. He hears I'm probably talking to another guy behind his back. And it just didn't work. It was so dramatic and stressful, and like I thought my world ended. And it's a story my mom and my sister still to this day will tell you if this conversation ever comes up. And so I'll get it out of the way. So if you ever meet my family, you can be like, oh, I already heard this story. But they probably tell it better. They make me so embarrassing. Anyways, so when we first broke up, I was devastated. I thought my life was over, and I just started crying my eyes out. Now, in my point of view, I started crying the way I started crying because I kind of wanted attention from my mother and my sister. They would say that I just started fucking crying because I'm crazy and psycho and a lunatic. Whoever you want to believe, whatever. But honestly, I just wanted attention, so I started crying like I was a crazy mad woman, like just insane crying and freaking out and like hitting the floor. It was ridiculous. But I was telling them that I broke up with, my boyfriend, Wilson, or he broke up with me. Somebody broke up with each other, and we I'm just bawling my eyes out, and they're like laughing at me this entire time, and I am seriously like serious about it, but I also am trying to put on a front about like how bad I'm crying about it. So yeah, it was, and we tried to get back together, and like he promised when he gets back, he'll be the first person I see type thing, and eventually like I loved him so much, or at least I thought I did, so much that I just didn't know how to progress. So I dated another kid right before him, but it didn't work out, and it actually was one of his good friends too, so that was kind of bad. Nothing sexual happened, but it was just still the fact that it's kind of shady of me to do that. So yeah. And then I But when I figured out he wasn't going to come back, I just decided, all right, I need to like move on somehow, like literally push this under the rug and just leave it be and just move on. So I ended up starting to date with this new guy named Casey. I'm trying to think of all these weird names. Casey, and he was a sweet guy, like super caring and endearing and like honest and whatever, like awesome word. And he was silly too. That's always good when somebody's like silly. But we started dating for the fact that my friend Ashley, that was when MySpace was popular. Was it? Yeah, it was maybe it was Facebook. I think it was Facebook. But she gets on Facebook. No, it had to have been MySpace. Anyways, it doesn't have to matter. One of those social sites. She gets on the social site and she shows me, man, this kid right here, he's really cute. And so I'm like, oh, well, just tell him. And she's like, no, I'm not going to tell him. Are you crazy? So I do it for her. And then one thing led to the other and we like became really close. And then we started actually dating. And we actually dated for a very long time. About 3 years. Was it 3 years? 2 to 3 years. And he was really sweet. It just eventually I lost interest, which is a sad story to say. Like, that's just really sad. Like, I just fell out of love. Like, I guess there was no spark anymore, and it just needed to end. And I felt bad at that point, because when you're with somebody that long and you find out, hey, I need to move on, and I don't think you're the one that's going to move with me. Like, I need my time, my space, to find new fishes in the world kind of thing, to experience new things, and I don't think you're going to be the one with me. So when I had to break up with him, that was ridiculously hard, because we basically spent every single day together, and I didn't know how to tell him. It was one of those things, and it kind of was slowly dying. Like, I don't know, it wasn't working out. So I eventually just gritted my teeth, and I cried when I broke up with him. Like, I was seriously, like, sad about it, because I'm not a bitch. Like, I really care about everyone and everything, and all this other stuff that I shouldn't care about, but I do. And when I had to tell him, I was so heartbroken about it, because I felt bad for him, because I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want him to be, like, in a depression or whatever that might happen. But I think he handled it fine. He was sad about it, but we were able to move forward, and I don't know what he's doing with his life now, but I'm sure he's doing what he loves, and there's, like, hair in my mouth. Sorry. Just interrupt that really sad moment because there's hair in my mouth. But yeah, we just drifted apart, and I'm pretty sure he's having the time of his life right now. So, yeah, that was my life in my grade school. Oh, my God, that was ridiculous, man. Oh, got the hair. There's like tiniest. There's a Kira hair. I don't know how she has her hair in my mouth. Or my lip. But anyways, so yeah, that was my grade school dating life. Nothing crazy. That's my life. I figured it was important to give my background of relationships. And sorry if it wasn't, like, the most risque stories or, like, one of those awesome ones. But, whatever. I give you what you get, and don't throw a fit about it. Anyways, okay. My throat's already hurting, and I haven't even been talking that long. I mean, I technically have. Let's see. Okay. Did you have a lot of girlfriends to talk to about this stuff? I did. I technically, thinking about my past and my friends at those moments, I realistically only had 2 friends that were my best friends. And I still consider them my best friends, actually, to this day. But, I don't talk to them as much. I talk to one more than the other, but it's still, like, not as much as I should talk to my friends. But the issue with the girls that I hung out with, and they're sweet. They all have their own personality, and, like, one's crazy, but, like, in a fun way. One's, like, more, like, entertaining and silly, and, the one that's, like, Leanne, if she ever watches this, though, but Leanne was, like, the girl that, she could literally put on the sad face and everyone loved Leanne. Like, I don't know who hated her. She was the one everyone loved and all the guys wanted to be with her and like just the sweetest little thing, and everybody could never be mad at Leanne. I don't even know how. Like, she would obviously do something bad and nobody would be mad at her. Like, she just had like a coast throughout her entire like grade school. I don't know how she fucking did it, but she did it somehow. And so like everyone had their own personality, and so what I realized after talking to a few of my friends while growing up and like figuring the situation out and stuff like that, a lot of them like to talk shit. Like, not in a bad way, but they like to, you tell one friend, hey, don't tell anybody this, but, I started my period kind of thing. You tell one person that, and then the entire school knows. So I eventually kind of figured out who were the talkers in that group of friends that I hung out with, and I barely told them anything that was going on in my life that I didn't want anyone else kind of to know. And with girls, I mean, I don't think guys are the same. They might be. I mean, obviously guys, if it was the same with you, tell me, speak up. But with girls, you're gonna get those people that, yeah, they're just gonna talk shit and not care about your feelings. They want gossip. They want a story to tell, and they want to entertain others with your faults or whatever. And so you just gotta learn from those lessons and figure out who are those girls or those friends that actually do that. And you kind of need to not be around them. They're not important in your life. You're not gonna last forever with them. And it is true. Your high school friends aren't going to really follow you after high school. Because one, I mean, everyone goes their separate way. They go to college, they have kids, they have all this other stuff that goes on with their life that doesn't really follow your track. I mean, my girlfriends that do still live in Austin, majority of them are still pretty close together. Like, I see all the time, they're hanging out and all this other stuff. I'm the only one that actually kind of moved pretty far away and is not looking to come back ever. And so, like, it happens. And the two girls that I decided that aren't really the ones that are going to talk and throw drama out in the situations are the ones that I'm going to, like, try to conversate as much as possible. I honestly am a horrible friend for the fact that, like, if you don't talk to me, I pretty much won't talk to you back. Like, not that I mean to, it's just, like, I feel like, I don't know, I don't, it's really hard to say. I'm really bad in keeping touch. I don't, like, one day I'm thinking, oh, I wonder how Leanne's doing. I don't call her to see how she's doing. I'm just wondering what she's doing, and then I go on with my merry way in hopes that she would call me one day or she'll text me one day or something. But I'm never really the one that, like, starts it first because I don't know why. That's one thing I need to change. So I actually don't even really have a lot of friends because I do that. I try to have friends, especially with this job. It's really hard because the people I do meet, I only meet for a few hours and then that's pretty much done. So it's always kind of one of those things where I don't get the opportunity to meet new people as much. Like, I meet new people, but I don't consider them my friends. They're just acquaintances. And hopefully one day I can change that about me and actually, like, oh, I met this girl, or guy, at a photo shoot. I really enjoyed them, and they had an awesome personality, and they weren't annoying or anything like that. Maybe I should try to, like, be friends with them. And Francis always tries to let me, like, oh, you should invite so-and-so over for, like, dinner or, like, tea or something. And in my head, I'm like, yeah. So I need to fix that. That's a bad issue. But yeah, I talked to my girlfriends during that time here and there, but eventually I just stopped talking to them. And I'm the type of person, I keep a lot of things in my head, which is known to be really bad, but I do. I'm really scared to talk to things about my life to people. So hopefully this podcast will help me open up and be, like, more, like, don't give a fuck. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really irritated by the camera color. I tried editing the camera. I know this is a random thing, and I'm sure you don't care. But I tried to edit the camera color. Because, again, this is Francis's computer, not mine. And so it's kind of, like, making me very, like, saturated. I don't know why. And it's, like, making me look Anyways, sorry. Tidbit of the day. Okay. Names to use: Stephen, Cameron, Tyler, Warren, Henry, Jacob, Victor, and Wyatt. Wyatt's a good one, man. All right. I don't really have any more names to really give out, but man, I'm gonna remember those. Actually, well, I'm not even gonna say it. Anyways, so those are good names. You did better than me. I'm like thinking what I did. What names did I did? I did Wilson. I did Tony. I did Jose, Joseph, Derek. I don't remember the first guy I said. I don't remember what his name was. Anyways, I don't know why I'm going on this random berserk. I know that feeling. Yeah, that feeling. Anyways, so I don't know why I keep saying it anyways. Fucking stop it. Tackman. Recently, I accidentally walked in on my lady friend's girlfriend in her undies. Ooh. I'd seen her before, but she was way cuter without pants. Oh, that's so silly. Anyway, I felt really bad, so I brought her a handmade card, expensive as far as cards go, and wrote her an apology poem. I also got a flower pot. I figured I should fill it with candy, so I did, and I put a standing plant in there. This was no small plot, so there was my censored thing is not on. I don't remember. Somebody a long time ago told me how to turn the censored thing on Ustream, and I don't remember how to do it. But there was a fucking ton of candy. That's what I'm assuming it says. And yeah. And do you know what she said to her friend? She said, quote unquote, "Do you think he washed his hands?" I was pissed, but hey, cute girl, right? I would be pissed too. That's kind of effed up, especially when you did all of that work to like give her something for basically saying like, "Hey, I'm sorry that I like intruded on you in your underpants." I don't know why I said underpants. But here's a gift to show my, sincerity about this apology or whatever. That is kind of fucked up. That's rude. I don't know if she probably said it. I mean, I'm not a specialist on relationships. I just felt like this would be an awesome topic, and for me to like voice out my opinions because I feel like my opinion's badass. No, my opinion can be kind of cool, I guess. But I feel like her reasoning was just to sound like cool around her friend. Because that's really the only reasons why I can see a girl really doing that. Like, I can't see a girl being, like, completely disgusted with free candy and, I mean, maybe a card, but I literally, if you have free candy and you give me free candy, I'm gonna go insane. Like, I'm like, if you add chocolate to it, yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that's kind of fucked up. I'm sorry that really happened to you, man. That's dumb. I wish. Yeah, at least you saw a cute girl. I mean, that memory will last forever and ever, and you can fantasize it. But man, that sucks. But if everyone else has stories similar to that, or even like different than that, share. I'm not gonna judge anyone. I'm not a judging type of person. I'm the opposite. If I see you wearing something I don't like, then I'm like, all right, I don't like your outfit, but I'm not going to judge you for it. It's just who you are, and that's what you wanted to wear. I can't tell you what to do. What was the best first date you've ever been on? Honestly, I never have been on that many dates in my entire life. Or at least I don't consider them dates. Like, when I dated my 2 serious boyfriends in high school, I already forgot their fake names, but when I dated those 2, we really didn't have a date. Because what I feel like a date is when you take somebody out somewhere different than your normal hangout spot, and you indulge in either food or entertainment or a blissful conversation or something, and those 2 boyfriends weren't like that. Like, I mean, we had our, like, moments in our nights where it was romantic and stuff like that. And I remember my last serious relationship, when we had our anniversary, we went and saw a movie and, like, went to dinner and stuff like that. that was romantic, and that was, I guess, technically a date, but it wasn't anything, like, super awesome. But I'll talk about my first, best first date you ever been on. Man, okay, so wait, that kind of changes. I don't know. The only first date that I ever really technically had was with Francis, and bless his heart, he calls it a date. I don't really call it a date. But we just ended up going to his house and sitting on the couch and talking. I guess that is a blissful conversation, and it's in a different spot that I'm not, used to. But it just didn't feel like a date. It didn't feel like what a first date's supposed to feel like. And I know why he ended up doing that. But just at the time, I'm like, this is not a date. But, it's whatever. It's a cool hangout, right? But anyways, I will say the best, I'm going to take out first, the best date that I've ever had or ever been to was with Francis. And I don't know if I should tell the story about Francis first and then work my way up to the best date that I had with him, or if I should just say that and then go into the story. I'm trying to think what would be more entertaining. All right. We're just going to start with the story about Francis. So sorry, you got to wait for the answer for that one. So Francis. I graduated high school, and I was currently working 2 jobs at the time. I got in some serious trouble. Yeah, don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble. But I did get in some serious trouble, so I needed 2 jobs to pay off some crazy bills that I had. God, no, I'm grateful for that crazy moment of my life. But anyways, so what happened? Oh yeah, I was working 2 jobs, and I worked at a hotel called Extended Stay. God, I hated that job so bad. It was a horrible job. It was horrible. Anyways, so there was these kids that would always come up to the front desk. I worked front desk. Majority of the time I worked mornings, but there was a couple times I worked nights. So these kids came up. They always came up every night I was working. Even when my best friend Allison was working there, they always would come. And it was nice because they'd keep us company sometimes when it was really slow. But then when we wanted to do our own thing, they were effing in the way. But so this one girl comes up, and she, is hanging out, and I tell her about Francis. Because when I first met him, if you don't remember in episode 4, but when I first met him, I was doing figure modeling at the time, and he was, an instructor for the art department, and so that's how we met. And, we kind of we didn't have any really other relationship other than business, so we would, not really text each other, not really talk to each other outside of TAD and all this other stuff. And, I had maybe a few gigs with him prior to this day at Extended Stay. And the little girl, she's probably around 12, comes up to me, and, we're just talking and hanging out kind of thing. And so I ended up, I don't know why, but I ended up telling her about Francis, and that I thought he was really cute and, really, scrumptious and type thing. And she's just like, oh, well, why don't you tell him? And I'm like, girl, it is not as easy as it sounds. I'm not going to tell him that I think you're scrumptious. This is a business. We've never talked outside of business with each other, and I don't want to, ruin that type of relationship because they pay me money, Gotta get money. So she ends up just, taking my phone, finding his name, and texting him saying, and I quote, "Hey, what's up?" I freaked the F out. Because, again, me and Francis have never really talked like that before. So I got super nervous. I yanked my phone back and instantly texted him hey, sorry, that wasn't me. This is girl in, my hotel, all this other stuff. And as I was sending that, he sent me a text saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" with a smiley face. And then the second text went through with me saying, "Oh, that wasn't me," kind of thing. And he got confused because he didn't know if I wanted to talk to him or not. So I kind of ruined it, but I was just like, yeah, since you're on the, the phone, we can talk about whatever, how's it going? And we start talking, and so he says, "Hey, can I give you a call after your work. And I'm like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. And my two best friends were, visiting me at my job, and 11 p.m. rolls around, and I finally clock out, and I give him a call, and he's like, hey, I wanted to know if you wanted to go on a date. It's like, okay. And so I was super nervous because this was my first relationship outside of school. So you didn't I never really saw him technically because, with school you see him every day compared to in real life. You have to make time to see somebody. So this was my first, relationship kind of outside of school. And I didn't know, what to do kind of thing. And so he ended up telling me to just come over to his house one night and, we can listen to the quiet storm. And I had to ask my coworker at my other job one day, I'm like, the quiet storm? And he's just like, because in Austin, the slow jam part that came up in Sundays at night was called something different than what he called it. And so I was like, what is the quiet storm? And my coworker's like, oh, that's the songs where it's romantically slow. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm super freaking nervous. So I go over to his house, we have conversations and all this other stuff, and we started seeing each other from that point on. And we've been seeing each other for 3-4 years? We both don't know. We both really don't know. I think it's 3 to 4 years. I was 18, so 18. About almost 4 years. Yeah, anyways. So, okay, this is the first best date, kind of. I mean, there was other dates in between it, but this one was the most memorable. So there's this place in Austin called the 360 Bridge. And it's a bridge. Obviously, it's a nice bridge over the water and stuff like that. And then on the side of it, there's these little minor cliffs that you can walk up and just sit there and hang out. I mean, smokers will go there and smoke, bad kids will do bad things, and then couples will come and do cute things, and families will come during the day and take pictures type thing. So Francis wanted to go there during, a little late at night, and he was trying to surprise me, but being from Austin all my life, I pretty much know almost everything there is in Austin. So I eventually knew where we were going, and, we walk up the cliff, and we sit down, and I feel like I've told this story before, but whatever. If I have, you're going to have to listen to it again. So we would get up there, and we just sat there, and we had conversation with each other, and just talking and stuff like that. And I remember this box item just falls down off the cliff, and then magically comes back up. It was weird. I've never seen, it was a box probably about that big. It was sitting on the edge of the cliff, and then the wind comes and takes it off the cliff, and it's flying in the air for a little bit, and then it comes back on the cliff and sits kind of, not right in front of me and Francis, but a good distance away. And in my head, I'm like, the chances of that happening, that's weird. So anyways, I didn't think anything of it. And Francis, kind of was like, hey, xoxo. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm not really sure how to ask this. And I'm worried. I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, so, when you were younger, you would say boyfriend, girlfriend type thing and ask to see if you can go steady. But, would you want to go steady with me? And I thought that was the sweetest thing because, he obviously was awkward about it. He didn't really know how to present it in that way. Because, yeah, when you get older, you don't really go steady anymore. You just turn out to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and then it goes from there. So I thought that was sweet, though, how he was kind of, rolling it out kind of thing. And so that was the moment that we became serious in a relationship. And before we left, I went to say, hey, Francis, I'm just really curious about this box that rolled up, back on the cliff. So I'm going to check it out real fast. And it was so ironic. I don't know why, but it was so ironic to me that I picked up the box and I started laughing because it was a box of lifesavers. It was just because, I mean, for the fact that it's a box of lifesavers, it fell off the cliff and then came back on the cliff, and it was kind of like their life was saved. And then on top of it, Francis was asking me to be his boyfriend. So it was like one of those like magical moments. It was one of those things. I mean, you had to. It's not even you had to be there. It just you had to be me and experience what I was experiencing. But yeah, that was honestly probably the best date I have ever been on in my entire life, and it was simple. And that's the point with me, is I am simple. Like, I don't ask for too much, especially in relationships. I mean, yeah, everyone has their moments where they're mad or they're upset or depressed or having, a bad time. And yeah, you accidentally put it on your significant other, and you don't mean to, but it just happens. Or there's times when you actually do get in a fight about a serious situation. It happens. But realistically, like, I'm probably the most easiest girlfriend you could probably ask for the fact that, like, I don't ask for much. The biggest thing I always ask for Francis is, can you be ready for dinner at 8 o'clock? Like, seriously, just stop working and come down at 8 o'clock and be ready. Like, be sitting down, ready. That's probably the only thing that I really get on Francis about, because he's never ready. I cook food. It's not the glorious food, but I cook it to keep us alive. And I work so hard to make sure it's tasteful. And, like, I tell him too, I give him warnings. Hey, Francis, dinner will be ready at 8, or hey, it'll be ready in 10 minutes, or whatever. And I don't think maybe there's been one moment in our relationship he actually arrived, like, perfectly on time. Like, sitting down with me, ready to go. See, I'm so simple. That's literally the only thing that I'm like, come on, man. So yeah, if you have any questions of how I am as a girlfriend, I mean, I'll give you my opinions of how I am, but I don't ask for anything when it comes to, like, birthdays or Christmas. Like, if you ask, I'm like, I don't know, I don't care. Give me whatever you want to get me. Don't get me anything. If we want to go and spend quality time together, I rather just sit at home and watch TV. Like, I'd rather just be together. I enjoy my Sundays with them because we try to make Sundays like our day, so, like, no work at all. So, and we just go to Goodwill and go shopping, like, at Goodwill, and go run the dog and maybe go to the beach. And if not, we just stay at home and watch movies. So, I mean, I'm really the most easygoing, especially even when it comes to food. I will admit, though, I am that girl that if you ask me what do you want to eat, I'm going to say I don't know. Because I really I don't know. I want to eat everything. I want to eat Indian, Japanese, Mexican, American, anything that I've never eaten before. Ice cream. I'll eat ice cream for dinner if I need to. Like, I'm super open in pretty much everything. So, if you choose, you want, I'm really feeling Chili's tonight. Shima, you want to go to Chili's? Fine. I will find something at Chili's that I will want to eat. So that will work for me. I'm just super chill. I don't care. I mean, I do care about certain things. I will admit that. There's times. And, I mean, obviously, we're like every relationship. We might have our little moments where we get in an argument about whatever it is, but we eventually get over it. And we're a team. We work together to make sure that we're trying to make this relationship work. And you have to do that in a relationship, because it needs two people as a team to make it grow. If there's only one person trying to build that relationship and the other one's just slacking off, not caring, throwing it to the side, then that person that's actually really working hard to make it succeed is putting so much effort in it and getting nothing back. And it's unhealthy. And then, I mean, I know there's times people say that, a relationship does need a few arguments. I mean, if you're the type of people that don't argue, then that's awesome. I mean, if it works for you, then that works for you. If you are the type of couple, though, that doesn't argue, or that argues, I'm getting tongue-tied, that argues every second of your life, then there's something that may be wrong. But again, if that works for you in your relationship, then shoot, go for it. But I can't see how a healthy relationship is a couple that argues so much. That just seems really unhealthy. But, that's me. I don't know nothing. Like I said, I ain't no specialist about this. So yeah, just you gotta work hard to make it, worth it, make it happy. I mean, it's one of those things. I don't. I was gonna go into a new topic, but then in my head I'm like, I'm gonna read my questions and comments right now. So I'm in the two different worlds right now. Let me take a drink of water before I get started. Okay, mean girls much? Laugh out loud. Yeah, to the Tackman's situation. Yeah. Or mean girls much towards my best friend situation? Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Is Akira adopted? Yes, Akira is adopted. She is. Well, she was that lovely girl you just saw. I kind of messed that up. Sorry. I don't know if the music played while I did that or what, but yeah, Akira is that gorgeous little thing in that image that I showed. She is my Weimaraner puppy, so yeah, she's adopted. She's my baby. I didn't birth her myself. If I did, she would there would be some questions if I birthed her myself. Okay, from Derek. Okay, so I met this girl at an event I was shooting, and we exchanged numbers. Ooh la la, already exchanging numbers. I am really attracted to her, and I set up a photo shoot with her this upcoming Tuesday. Whoa! Alright, so this is a real life scenario. Okay, got it. Alright, I'm prepared. I'm ready. Bring it. Do I confess my crush to her on the shoot or keep it all business? So, Derek, this is your first photo shoot with her. Am I correct? And is this person it's a female, is this female a model or a makeup artist, hairstylist, another photographer? What is her current position as far as business? I'm gonna wait for you to reply to give my reply because I want to make sure I know all the information before. Okay, yes. So this is your first time, and this is also your first, this is your first time shooting with her, and then also she is a model. Sorry, I felt like something was up there. All right. But you are attracted to her. So that situation's kind of, just a student, not a model. So I met this girl at an event I was shooting, and we exchanged numbers. Okay, student but not a model. All right. Okay, honestly, this is a situation that's similar to me and Francis because it's similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. Because me and Francis, met for the fact that he was an artist that needed a model to pose for his class. So that's where I stepped in. So he was kind of my boss, and he paid me and all this other stuff. So he's my boss, and honestly, we both, once we started dating, we figured out. But honestly, we both had any traction for each other, but we both didn't know it because we both wanted to keep it as a business, relationship between each other, and that personally worked for us. Again, I'm not a relationships specialist, so please don't take my full words for this because it just worked for me. But we kept it as a business for a few months, more than a few months, maybe 4 to 5 months, and would work with each other just for, the figure modeling and the artistry purposes. We never hung out outside of it. We only exchanged numbers because that was the easiest way to get a hold of him and easiest way to get a hold of me kind of situation. And when we actually did start dating, when I went to his house and we conversated and stuff, we kept that a secret because, again, he was technically my boss, and he didn't want his students to know that they can just go up to any figure model and ask them out on a date and then hook up with them. It has to be professional because that's the situation that he and I were in. So for the longest, we kept it secret. We pretended when we were around the TAD environment that we did not hook up with each other, and we were just, business partners type thing. And eventually we just I basically lost a job for him. Yeah, thanks, Francis. But eventually, yeah, I just ended up just saying, hey, whatever. We're pretty serious by this point, so we're just gonna not come out, but we were just gonna go to this event together, like a couple. And if people are gonna talk, people are gonna talk. But otherwise, yeah, we're just gonna come like a couple and show off. So I honestly would choose for you to like not confess, wait a while and see if y'all have other opportunities of maybe confessing the situation out, because I don't know how your business situation is actually like in real life. If she's somebody, like if she's a student, I don't know anything about students. I have friends that know. Francis knows people that know the whole student and teacher life situation type thing. But if she's your student and she's somebody that you're going to see all the time, and you do inform her that you have a crush, and for the chances that they don't have a crush on you back, then that may lead it to being awkward because it was the first photo shoot that you had, and it's like you don't know what to do. But also for the fact that if they do have a crush on you back, and you don't tell them, then it gives them a moment to like really like you even more because they're nervous around you too. And like, I mean, coming from my side, like I had a crush on Francis from the day I met him eye to eye, and every time I came back to Tad, I was so excited. I try to dress as nice as possible and like kind of strut my stuff a little bit and like stare. Like I would always like look at him and then realize, okay, I'm looking at him too long, let me look somewhere else, and then look at him again, okay, I'm looking at him too long, let me look somewhere else. So I honestly would just say wait for that moment that just feels right. And if that first photo shoot this upcoming Tuesday feels right for you, then do what you feel is best, because it's your life, it's not mine. So do what you feel like is best for your life, and if it works, you need to come back and tell me. And if it doesn't, you still need to come back and tell me. And if you don't do it, then you need to come back and tell me, because I like knowing what people are doing with their life. It's fun. I like stories. I like hearing things. It's always entertaining for me. But yeah, that's the best I can do. Man, that's a hard one too, because if you have a crush on somebody and you have to be around them, man, you're like, do I tell you? I want to tell you, but I'm nervous. And I don't know, guys, is it this, like, do you get nervous telling a girl that you like them or that you think they're attractive? I mean, growing up, yeah, I've heard that guys have feelings too, obviously, but also the fact that, I mean, they get nervous just as much as we do, us girls. So I'm curious, because I don't know if I would ever have the guts to go up to like, Francis and say, I want to date you. Can we date? Kind of thing. I don't think I would ever have the guts to do that. Even still, knowing him now, I probably still wouldn't have the guts to do it. Have you ever placed someone in the friend zone that didn't deserve it? Okay, sorry. My earrings are hurting. They're clip-ons, and this one doesn't have a cushion to it, so like, my ear hurts. Have you ever placed someone in the friend zone that didn't deserve it? I mean, what do you mean exactly when you say they didn't deserve it? Thinking back now that I put somebody in a friend zone and I think about them, I'm like, man, they were a great person, I should have hooked up with them kind of thing? Or... because honestly, I really don't think I've ever actually put somebody in well, I feel like that's a lie if I say that, because I probably had to have put somebody in a friend zone. I'm trying to think of people that asked me. Because especially when I was younger, I had an issue of saying no. Especially if they did work up the courage to ask me out in person. I just had a hard time saying no. So, I mean, there was a kid, I'm going to name him, Steven. I'm going to name him Steven. And he asked me out, and he was not my type. I was not attracted to him. And we ended up being really good friends at the end of it. But, I just wasn't attracted to him whatsoever. But he asked me out in person, and I felt bad. So I said, yeah. Like, I mean, you take the strength to ask me out. So, I mean, I don't want you to, like, be mad at me or be sad or depressed that you actually worked up the courage and then got denied. Like, I don't want to be the reason why you got denied. So even though I didn't really like the person, like, you know, was attracted to them, I decided, you know, I'm going to stick through it and hope for the best. And a day later, I'm not kidding, a day later, I realized, yeah, I don't think I could even kiss this person. Like, he was sweet, he just wasn't my type whatsoever. It's not even about type. I just wasn't attracted to him whatsoever. And I was too nervous to do it myself, and it's the shittiest way of doing it, but I was too nervous of breaking up with him a day after he asked me out, so I had my best friend at the time do it for me. And we ended up being really good friends after it, but if you asked me out, especially when I was younger, I would have a hard time saying no, because I would feel bad. And you know me, I don't want to feel bad and make somebody's life a miserable hell. I'm trying to think after I graduated high school. I know this kid that I went to community college with. I guess I kind of technically led him on. Man, I feel bad. I technically led him on, and then when he came over, I realized that I didn't want to hook up with him. So I kind of like, oh, I feel bad. But I led him on to the point where like he wanted to have sex, and I didn't because I wasn't attracted to him. So, oh, I feel bad. I don't even want to go there. It was just really awkwardly painful, and I feel bad for doing that. But yeah, we didn't end up having sex, but it was a very awkward moment because he needed to be a man and rub one off, and I wasn't going to assist because I just wasn't attracted, and man, what did I even do that for? Jesus Christ, that was horrible. Man. Ugh. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't deserve to be in the friend zone, but then there are a few that, like, they just honestly just can't be more than just friends with somebody. But I guess I technically have done that. I've led that guy on, and I've, you know, dated that kid for only a day. So, I mean, but I try my hardest to make sure people are happy and not going to, like, go back and, like, talk bad about me or anything like that. But I really try. I mean, obviously I'm not perfect, so there's that going for me. But I don't know. I'm sure there is somebody that I actually placed in the friend zone purposely, maybe. I don't feel like I ever purposely placed somebody in the friend zone. Like, it had to have been accidental and, like, depressing. So I don't know. I don't know. What is the most romantic thing Francis ever done for you? Sing, picnic, or recited poetry? He's done a lot of romantic things. He's such a romantic sweetheart. Man. Trying to think. I'm really bad. Oh man, I feel bad if I say I don't know because I need to know. I need to know this answer. I need to know. He has done romantic things. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to think of what it was. But like they're all romantic, but I'm trying to find one that like was like outrageously romantic. Oh, okay. This is. Oh, man, do I have it near me? No, I don't. Wait, do I? Hold on, let me just check real fast. I probably don't. It's not probably near me. It's probably... Man, if it's near me, I'm going to be so excited. Oh, sorry, give me a second. Come on. Yeah, I'm looking through my junk drawers, because that's all it is. Damn much. No, I don't have it. I don't know where it's at. Wait. No, I don't have it. I don't know where it's at. It's summer. Anyways, okay, so in the beginning of me and Francis' relationship, he's an artist, for those that don't know, but he ended up making a l.shima and Francis Vallejo comic book. It was like he got pieces of paper and like drew comic panels and comic things and stapled together and like did a fancy cover, like something you would do in elementary school. But obviously he's an artist, so it was really well done. I mean, he did it fast too, so I mean, it wasn't like a final peak. I mean, it was final, but it wasn't like, oh my god, I need to like seriously like sell this for $1 million. It was something between him and me, and it was super romantic because that was. And he said that was part 1, and he hasn't made a part 2. I don't know if he's ever gonna give me a part 2, but he needs to. But yeah, it was a part 1 of l.shima and Francis Vallejo's relationship. And it was like us, what I've already basically told you about us meeting the first time and having our first quote-unquote date and him asking me out. And then, oh my god, it was the most funniest thing. So there was a page where me and Francis are laying in bed, and this is at his apartment. And I eventually moved in with him and his roommate Orlando Sanchez. And so we were in his bed, and the comic started. I'm going to pretend like it's the actual comic, but we're sitting in bed, laying down, and I asked Francis, hey, can you, hand me my phone that is on the floor next to you? And he goes, sure, no problem. And so he's laying on the bed, and he turns to his right to reach down to get my phone from the floor. And at that very second, he lets one go. He lets a fart out. And it was the very first time he's ever farted in front of me. And it was the most funniest thing in the entire world, and it's still funny to this day. Okay, I'm crying because it is so funny. Because that was the first time he's actually farted in front of me. I know you guys, and even girls too, I mean, we're humans. We fart. We, have, passing fluids through our bodies, and we have gas that comes from our mouths and stuff like that. But when you're starting a relationship, especially guys, I know you probably fart every few seconds in your entire life, and you poop like bajillion times a day. But when you're around somebody, you're kind of trying to show off and like be that cool guy, and trying to be what's up kind of thing. You hold it in majority of the day, and then as soon as that significant other leaves, you probably like fart one huge one out, and you're like, oh my god, finally. And then you go back to being your normal self. And so when that happened, I knew that situation, but just hearing it, and then the fact that Francis, he spends literally maybe an extra 2 seconds like looking down at the floor because he realized what he just did, and he's like probably afraid to like look me in the face because of what just happened. He like turns around with my phone, and I'm looking at him like, did that just happen? And I start laughing, and I don't mean to like hurt his feelings or anything, but he starts laughing too, and it was the most funniest situation. And so he drew that whole scenario with it in the comic, and his fart in the comic turned into a little genie guy, like a little I don't know if you've ever seen the Family Guy episode where the what's his name? God damn it. The main guy. I can't even. Peter lets out a fart, and this little gas Mexican guy comes up and like says something. I don't remember what the guy said, but Francis did that same kind of skit where he drew a little Mexican guy gas fart coming out of his butt and like saying something. It was so funny. It was so funny. So I would say that was one of the most romantic things. That's Francis, by the way.
I just want to let you know that I'm aware of all the things that you're talking about.
I know, I figured.
As you were.
But yeah, so that would has to have been the most.
Wait till you hear some l.shima secrets one day.
No, there's no l.shima. But yeah, that was probably one of the most romantic things Francis has ever did. Not the fart. The fart was pretty funny though, but it was the comic book that he made me, and it was just part 1, so I'm still expecting part 2, but eventually. I see like in the background of my camera that door opening. I'm like, is it Akira or is it who's walking in my room right now? So anyways, yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, there is l.shima stories. What? I don't care. We do things that, it's funny for the other person to be involved with. Alright, let's see. Okay, so I got that one. I am always nervous, but hey, you gotta rely on the law of averages. That is right, Tech Man. Okay, thank you so much. I will be back to share the details. Thank you, Derek. I seriously, I would love to hear the details of what ends up happening. I mean, and if you take my advice and it just doesn't work out, I'm sorry. It just, you gotta do whatever feels right for yourself, and don't always listen to me because what happened with me worked perfectly for me. So just do what feels right for you. Sorry, I'm going through all my questions. Did you friend zone someone simply because you didn't want to date them? Oh no. I mean, yeah, like I said already, I would be too nice. I couldn't work up the courage to say no. I would just end up dating them just to hope that they feel better about themselves. So I guess that's a good thing, or maybe that's a worse thing. I don't know. In my head, I felt like that was a good decision to do because, I mean, they worked up the courage to ask me out, and they feel better when I said yes compared to if I say no and then they feel defeated. I don't want them to feel defeated. I want them to feel proud of themselves for doing that and going up and taking all that strength to do so. Do you and Francis have a song? I don't. We really don't. We don't have that song. Like, I don't. You know how some people say, oh, me and so-and-so, we have that song, that first song we started dancing to, or that song that came on when we first met. Me and Francis are like not your stereotypical couple. Like, we don't even remember when we first started going out. Like, we don't know our anniversary day whatsoever. He thinks it's 4th of July, which is bullshit. And I know I'm right that it was later in July. But whatever, I'm going to give it to him that it was 4th of July because he somehow thinks that it was 4th of July, but it wasn't. We both are agree, though, it's in July. But we just don't know what day it was. But yeah, we don't really have a song, like our song. I mean, anything Michael Jackson, we both get down to. So, I don't. We do have a song, though. We made a GIF a long time ago on my Tumblr of me singing and Francis in the background dancing. It was a Michael Jackson song. But I honestly can't even remember what song that was. I'm really bad. But, yeah. So, I don't really think we have a song. You might have to ask him, too. He probably remembers a lot more than I do. I feel like a shitty girlfriend. I can't even remember if we have, like, a song or something. I just remember the farting story. God, such a good story. I have always been nervous around the crushes I had. How can I approach my crush without looking creepy? That's really hard. Especially for a guy to a girl. Not saying all guys are creepy, but girls can be defensive, especially nowadays with all that crazy, like, just men-girl kind of situations. But, shoot. From my personal opinion, I honestly think, so if I had a person that comes up to me and has attraction towards me, what I personally would feel the best, and if you ever met me in person, I literally have a straight face, like don't fuck with me face, because I hate when people do cat calls and it's like, hey, little mama, like, I hate that. Like, don't. And then I hate the ones that also are blatantly basically just obviously staring at me, and obviously I'm walking past them and their head turns with me and, like, checking out my ass or checking out my breast or checking out something on me. I hate that. Okay, I give it to you. I might be attractive, but seriously, don't do that. I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I really just don't do it. Please don't come up to me and say, hey, good looking. First of all, no. My name is not good looking. If you want to know my name, you just introduce yourself like a gentleman that you are and say, hello, young lady. No, just kidding. Just say, hi, what is your name, kind of thing. Don't give me pet names. Don't do it. Don't even go there. Unless I know you really well and you're my best friend, then you can call me whatever you want to call me. But if I don't know you at all, just please don't. Work that way up. Don't go right into it, because I instantly, if that happens, I instantly just block you. Like, anything you say to me, I don't care if you're, Leonardo DiCaprio, just name a famous person. But I don't care if you're him and you are the most attractive person in the world and you have the best personality ever. If you come at me with, hey baby, hey sweetie, hey sugar plum, I ain't gonna reply. Don't go there. But honestly, the best way a person could come up and talk to me is being as sincere and neutral and real as they possibly can. Meaning, if you see me at a grocery store, and I remember Andy, our roommate, and Francis having this conversation, or something similar to it. But if you see an attractive girl, or aka me, at a grocery store, and you are really interested in hooking up with me, or dating me, or just going, just having a nice conversation with me, the best way for me is to personally come up to me and say, okay, so we're waiting in line to pay for our stuff, and you notice that I have Greek yogurt. The nice thing to do is, or the best way to do for me is to say, hey, I see that you have Greek yogurt. Okay, that's the really cheesiest way to start it, but basically just saying, hey, Greek yogurt, eh? I heard you can put Greek yogurt in a smoothie with some bananas and some strawberries, and it is the best smoothie on earth. And if I turn around and I think you're attractive, or that you're really sweet and and very sensitive in a good way, then I'll be like, oh really? Yeah, I've actually maybe never tried it, and I'll open the conversation. But clearly, if I'm like, my arms are crossed like that, and I'm like, oh okay, like giving short answers, the best way is maybe the person is not interested, or maybe is just not having a good day and doesn't really want to talk. You'll know when somebody wants to like move on with the conversation with you. Like, it's obvious. If somebody's attracted to somebody, it's obvious. And if it's not, then I don't know. These girls need to open up more, and these guys need to whatever. But guys, just try your hardest not to like be pushy. And I know your main goal in life maybe is to have sex with this person. Don't start off like you want to have sex. Maybe try to start off like you just want to go on a nice evening date with somebody and have nice conversations about life and, whatever. Handle it that way. Don't be like, hey baby, what's your number? Can I get them digits? Can we hook up or what? Like, I'm ready to go. Like, don't do that. That's my best like example. But just be yourself as best as possible. I mean, I know even from Francis telling me, it's hard to be yourself around certain people, certain girls or certain guys. And you eventually get comfortable, but there's some relationships where the significant other isn't comfortable still with being themselves. Like, they're holding back the farts that they technically would do by themselves, like, every second of their life. And that's kind of the feeling you need to kind of have when you're, trying to talk to somebody for the first time. Just try your hardest to be yourself. I mean, there's times, you don't want to throw all of yourself out in one sentence. Like, that might be TMI. But give at least a general idea of who you are within that first sentence. So if you are a photographer and you like shooting, nature, and you're free-flowing and don't care about life at all, but you like to smoke marijuana and drink on the weekends, then kind of show a little bit of each one of those things with the first introductory sentence that you do or paragraph that you do. So, if you're calm and free-flowing, hey, I really enjoy that you, or, hey, really, I like that chocolate that you have right there. I tend to eat that when I'm, hanging out on the weekends and sipping my beer or something. I don't know. I'm really bad at this. But that's personally best for me. I can't handle when people try to obviously hit on me. I just don't like it at all. I feel more at ease when the opposite sex, even if they're not even attracted to me, I just feel more at ease, though, when an opposite sex is more conversational and actually has something to say other than something that's just bullshit. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if that's a good answer for that question, but hey, it's my answer, so you gotta do what you gotta do. sorry, I kind of went off with that, but I'm going to take a quick turn back around, and I wanted to discuss when I mentioned about me and Francis and our relationship. I actually recently had my best friend Allison texted me a couple days ago, and the first thing she texted me was, "When are you and Francis getting married?" I was like, "Oh, that's sweet. We're not getting married." Not for the fact that I don't want to marry Francis. He is definitely worth marrying. But it's the fact that I just don't believe in marriage whatsoever. And I've had a few people talk about this on Tumblr with me. It's a story. Basically, with Francis' situation, he has two parents, like everyone in the world, but he has two parents that are still together to this day. They live together. They, do everything together pretty much. Oh, not everything, but they live together. They're that couple that are still married in today's society. And it worked for them. Somehow they made it work. They lasted, I don't know how many years together, but they eventually, said, hey, we're going to be faithful to each other. We're going to last this many years until the day we die type thing. And we're going to wear our rings to show that we're committed. And, I'll give you my last name and all this other stuff. That's awesome. Francis came from that background of that type of family. I, on the other hand, came from the opposite. I grew up with divorced parents. My mom and my dad got divorced at the age of 5, or my age at 5. And I was too young to really understand. I just knew that I wasn't going to see my father as much, and he wasn't going to live at the house. And I would see him every other weekend or something, whatever the situation was at that time. But and every month he would pay child support, and that was the month that me and my mom would go shopping for new clothes. So I always knew when I kind of knew the gist of what was going on. But eventually, you get older and you kind of more understand. But according to my mom and all that other stuff, my dad chose to not be faithful. And my mom found out, obviously, and decided to end the relationship. And that was totally awesome that she did so, because my dad probably is not the worth being with in that type of relationship, because after I've gotten older, he's just not the perfect person. I mean, nobody's perfect, but he's just not the perfect person. And I'm glad he was not that much part of my life. And so I grew up in the opposite life. My mom had to be the father and the mother and the breadwinner, and had to take care of 3 kids by herself, being a nurse. And at that time she was working 2 jobs and doing the best that she could to raise us in the best life that we could have. And I'm grateful for that. And obviously I received something completely different from that background, because I have an older brother, and he's married, and he has 2 kids. He living life, and that works for him. That's awesome. So obviously we both came from the same mother and the same, parents that divorced, but we look at it completely different from each other. And I personally don't think marriage is worth it, really. Because if you are somebody that loves another person, that is awesome. If you honestly can prove to yourself and also them that you're going to stay committed to them and that you're going to love them for the rest of their lives, then why do you need documents to show proof of that? You should be able to do that on your own. You don't need the government involved. And I understand people tell me, yeah, but you have so much benefits from it. So, like, if me and Francis got married, I could attend the school he's teaching for free. Or our health insurance, we could have dual health insurance, and so I will be set for the rest of my life, or he will be set for the rest of his life because we're married and we have the health insurance situation. Or when we have a child, there might be something more involved when you have a child in that situation. But I get it. Yeah, that's awesome that there's beneficial reasons that you could get married for, and that can be very, helpful. But I mean, there's single people that live their entire life being single and they're alive with health insurance, or maybe not health insurance, but they're alive with or without health insurance and with or without kids, and they're doing their thing. So why does it matter if I'm married to somebody that I personally love as much as I can, even way far and beyond, and I want to give 100% and all of my time and my efforts to make this relationship work? And then I told my friend that, and she's like, yeah, but the weddings are so awesome. And I'm like, I know, the weddings are awesome. You spend a lot of freaking money that I don't have to throw one party that I'm going to have for my entire life. For what? To say, hey, we're married? I mean, if that's the case, then I'll throw a party to say, hey, me and Francis are still together and we're going to be together for the rest of our life. Let's celebrate. So I don't see a point now in today's society of getting married. If you're married and you want marriage, thumbs up. That's awesome. Like, it works for you. That's great. I'm happy for you. I'm not here to like change your mind or anything whatsoever. And I hope you do the same thing for me. Of course, I like y'all's opinion. I like to hear what you have to say or any of your experiences that you may or may not have had with marriage, or even with your family, divorcing or staying together for the rest of your life. Please give me stories on the life that you grew up with that type of scenario that happened. But I just don't think it's for me. Even my next door neighbor, she asked me, she's like, oh, well, when are you and Francis planning on getting married? And she does not, I don't remember what she called it, but she believes in prayer. She's that lady. And she's really sweet. Don't get me wrong, she's super sweet. But she asked that question, and I already knew where this is probably going. So I told her, and she's like, oh, well, you understand that you and Francis are living in sin, basically, for not being married and living together. I'm like, yeah, but honestly, and I gave that spiel that I just gave, and she's like, oh, well, it's not about just having, documentations and, paperwork and all this other stuff to show that you're committed, but it's, the fact that you don't want to commit adultery or whatever she was saying. And I'm like, I get it. It's awesome to hear your point of view from it, but it's not gonna work for me. And that's my choice. I mean, I'm pretty sure Francis would marry me in a heartbeat if he wanted to. But I honestly told him that, I mean, marriage is cool, but it's not for me, and I don't see the reason for it. Honestly, I get to have a ring that I'll probably lose in 5 days. And there's so much money that is put into the pre-marriage. Like, the guy or the girl, if, whatever situation happens, but the guy having to drop, like, $1,000 or more on a ring to show that you're committed to this person. Why? Why do you have to buy that expensive piece of jewelry that I will probably lose in a day to show that you're committed to me? And then on top of it, the preparation to get married, like having the ceremony and the reception and all that other crazy stuff that gets involved. Like, you have to spend so much money. And I know, like, the bride's family pays for the wedding and the groom's family pays for whatever the groom's family pays for. I am not going to ask my mom to pay for my wedding. That should be my job, to pay for my own wedding. And I don't have the funds to pay for my wedding. Yeah, I probably would go to Goodwill and buy fake flowers that I find there and have the most tackiest wedding because I can't afford the most glorious wedding. But what's the point? Why do that? Why spend so much money on a day that's probably going to be the only day like that unless you get married 5 million times? It's just no point. You might as well have just a party in general and have a good time with your friends and keep it simple and just be living in the moment. And I know I read recently that people should spend more money after marriage during the marriage than before. So if you're going to spend, $50,000 on your wedding, you should probably spend maybe $5 at your wedding and spend the $50,000 during your marriage. That's what I read somewhere. But in my head, I'm like, why? Why don't you just spend $50 the way you want to spend $50 and not have to worry about marriage in the first place? I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Again, if kids are involved, I don't know how different it gets, but I'd rather have a bastard child than to have one while I'm married. I mean, seriously. That's just, I even always told myself I'd rather have a child before ever getting married. Like, I don't know why, but I'd rather just have a child before I get married. Just simple as that. So, yeah, it's just, I know people will disagree with me, and that's fine. That's their life, and that's their choices, and that's what they feel like works for them. But honestly, just the point of risking the amount of effort it takes to get married, then the effort it takes to stay married, and then the effort it takes to get divorced. Because I know I was young when my parents divorced, but it doesn't sound awesome. It sounds exhausting. I know there's some people that might just blow it off and say, hey, just sign this and donezo. But from the stories I've heard, there's a lot of people that want certain things out of their relationship, and the saddest part is when a couple breaks up and they don't even fucking know what to do with the dog. So they throw the dog in the pound because that's the best decision for them at the time. Fucking dumb shit. But marriage isn't going to be like this glass or this plastic bubble that you and a significant are going to be under, and you're protected from everything. Because if your significant other feels like cheating, they're going to fucking cheat no matter if you're married or not. So I don't feel like being married makes that big of a difference. Yeah, if they cheat, then yeah, you might be able to get money out of it. Awesome. So that's like dirty money. You basically got money for them cheating. That's awesome. I mean, look at my parents. I mean, they're probably were happy when they were together. Maybe not. I don't know. I was too young to know. But looking at my mom now, I mean, I'm glad she's not with my dad anymore. I mean, it worked out. I mean, I don't know how she feels, honestly, but knowing my father now and knowing my mother, they were probably not the best relationship to be around. And I know some people try to stick through their relationships for their children's sake. And if you're arguing every second of your life, it might be best to separate, because that child doesn't need all that negativity in their life. And it might be just best to stay away from each other and separately give love to your child. And literally the best example I have is this movie called Boyhood. I see a lot of movies. One of these episodes I'm going to talk about movies. But this movie Boyhood, the one that they recorded the child growing up for 12 years. It was ridiculous. You have to see the movie Boyhood. Seriously, it was ridiculous. Because it was more ridiculous for me just imagining, holy shit, they literally recorded this kid's life growing up. I mean, obviously they did it not completely, but I mean, you see this kid when he started at 5 to 7, and then you see him when he's in college, in his 20s, and seeing how far he grew and sees progression and his, puberty hitting and all that other stuff. It was so mind-blowing. But in that story, the husband and wife, or the father and mother weren't together, and how they handled that relationship was interesting to view, because not all divorces happen like that, but it's, that's a better situation than having your child suffocated with a very unhealthy relationship just because you feel bad if you get divorced, because you feel like your child will suffer. Trust me, as a child of divorcees, your child is not going to suffer. Your child will be fine. Yes, there'll be moments of crying and depression, but when they get older, they will understand. And if they don't understand, then oh well. You tried your hardest to be the awesome parent that you are. And, I mean, they just need to grow up. I'm just kidding. My throat is getting scratchy now. This is probably one of the longest podcasts by myself. So I'm going to wrap it up, but I'm going to answer again all these questions because y'all are awesome. Sorry, I gotta find it. Okay, so do most women like subtle gestures or the breathtaking "this is how much I like you" displays? You fucking your opinion. I don't know. It says you censored your opinion. So my Ustream censors cussing, and I don't know why, and I don't know how to fix it. So if somebody knows how to uncensor words on Ustream, please tell me now. Okay, so do most women like subtle gestures or breathtaking, this is how much I like you displays? I don't know. I can't talk for other girls. But I personally, I don't know. That's really hard. Okay, imagining somebody came up to me and if they were like not obviously like showing that they like me, it's kind of like you have to be in between. Like you can't like ignore me. Like, you know, you're not really into me, but you're into me. Like that's really hard to get up, you know, pick up on. Like especially even a guy. Like if a girl did that, obviously it's really hard to pick up on that. Like it really is. It's not easy. So you kind of have to be in between. So I guess the subtle gestures is probably the best because you don't want to be like a peacock and like flowing your feathers and be like, hey, yeah, I want to hook up right now. Like, let's do it. I'm really interested in you and I want to mate with you right now. Yeah, don't, with me, don't do that. I think it's just best if you're kind of subtle, like maybe like if we got to know each other a little bit more, like so say we already got past the introduction stage, we're now in the moment where we know each other's first name, maybe even the last name, and we kind of like know each other's phone numbers or something. And this is not including you, Derek, so in this business situation, this does not include you in that scenario, but like if you do know the person pretty well by this point, light touching is always nice, like, you know, her hand or his hand is right here, or can't really see it, but your hand is right here, and you put yours like, I don't know, like kind of like that or something, like just like light touches, or like, you know, you see him for the first time in a while and you like touch their shoulder, but like, you know, like not like that, like you're grabbing them like really hard, but more like, hey, kind of thing. I think that's the best. Again, I don't speak for every woman. Obviously, everyone's different, but that personally works for me. I seriously get awkward really easily, especially when it comes to the opposite sex. Because like even talking to Francis and Andy, apparently every guy, if apparently to them, and I don't know if they're joking, but because I read on Reddit too that's the opposite situation. But like if any guy comes up to you, they want to fuck. So if any guy comes up to me, I automatically assume that they think I'm attractive and they might want to try to like sleep with me. So I try not to think that way because I know the fact that that's not all the time that the guys are thinking that. But I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I mean, I don't know. I just get awkward really fast, especially with the opposite sex, and I always get like a bitch face when I'm by myself. Like, please don't fuck with me. Are you staring at me? Don't fucking stare at me. Like, I'm seriously like that. And I'm really nice. Like, if you're a fan of mine and you meet me and you're like, hey, l.shima, you're l.shima, and you come up to me, I probably would be more awkward, but I also would be really nice. But if you're just somebody just staring at me, I'd probably be like, why the fuck are you? Don't stare at me. You're making me feel weird. But don't mind me. I'm just a normal weird person. Okay. All right. Where am I? I don't know why I do that because it's not like changing. Okay. What was meeting Francis' family like? Were you nervous or calm? I'm always nervous when I meet family members because I don't know. I overthink. I overthink a lot of times. I'm wondering if they're gonna like me or whatever. I met Francis' dad first, and he was in Dallas for a job. So, and me and Francis lived in Austin, so we drove 3 hours to see his dad and eat dinner with him and just hang out for a little bit. And that was the first time I met his dad, and I pretty sure I probably like made a fool of myself. I probably said something. I tried my hardest not to cuss because his parents are Catholic, and like especially his mom. His mom is diehard Catholic. So I do not know anything about the Catholic religion whatsoever, or pretty much any religion. And so all I knew though was I shouldn't cuss and I shouldn't be sexual, obviously, of course, but I shouldn't be sexual. And I wouldn't wear something like this. I mean, realistically, I don't wear anything like this in my normal life. I mean, maybe here and there, but really, realistically, I'm always wearing like a shirt that comes to here. Maybe I'll wear a shirt that comes to here, but otherwise, like, I'm covered completely. So I'm the opposite than what you see on Tumblr. But I met him, and he was really sweet. He still is sweet. And I guess he liked me, because I don't know. Francis said he thought I was, adorable, but I obviously feel like they just say that because they're trying to be nice. But it took maybe a year to 2 years to finally meet his mom, and I had to go to Detroit to meet his mom. And he is, no joke, was not lying to me, because he said, she's just probably going to ask you questions the entire time. Like, my mother, she's the opposite. If you're my boyfriend, for instance, for Francis, she met Francis, she won't really ask him questions. She'll be like, she'll be on her own little world, and he would have to kind of more instigate a question or a story or a conversation. She just probably, and it's not that she doesn't care, but she doesn't care. It's Francis is not her boyfriend, so as long as he's not hurting me or anything like that, she doesn't care. But eventually my family's like that, but eventually my family grew into that, and they have conversations type thing, but Francis still has to kind of do it, like start the conversation with my family, but, whatever. So his mom, definitely was asking me questions, and, like, she's a stay-at-home mom, so, and Francis is their only child, so now that he doesn't live there anymore, she still is a stay-at-home, but there's no child to take care of. So, but she does the cooking, so, like, I tried helping with her, but she's like, oh, no, and she, like, did everything, like, it was a different world than I'm used to, but she said that she loved me, so that was great. So obviously she liked me, and they're just really sweet. Like, it just, again, I have to watch my language around them and make sure I don't say anything inappropriate. Like, his dog Wiley, his German Shepherd dog, last time I was there, humped me, and his mom and dad were, like, so embarrassed by it, and I'm like, and I didn't think anything of it, but I'm like, oh, he's just really horny. And then I realized I shouldn't have said that, because that's an inappropriate word. And I looked at Francis, I'm like, oops. And he's like, yeah, you shouldn't have said that. I'm like, well, hopefully she doesn't hate me now. He's like, no, she doesn't hate you, but you probably should just watch what you say. I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't think it was a bad word when I thought of it, and then I said it out loud. I'm like, that was kind of a bad word. So yeah, it was interesting. I'm always nervous meeting them, because I don't know. But now, I met them a few times already, and I stayed with them without Francis, and they're really sweet. They're so sweet. They're like, I don't know how to describe them. They're just these Catholic couple. It's cute. What up, light skin? Let me say a couple words real quick before I let you walk out of my life. Okay, say a couple words. Oh, are you? Got it. Yeah, you can say. Sorry, I'm a Dutch sometimes. Tackman said, "Ha, what's up, light skin? Let me say a couple words real quick before I let you walk out of my life." Yeah, I'm sure that works for other girls. I'm sure of it. There's a girl on Reddit at one point in my history of Reddit that said she actually likes those cheesy, like, pickup lines, but some just don't. So I don't know. It's really hard to say. Everyone's different. Like, there was a question on Reddit that was, girls of Reddit, what do you find attractive in a man, or whatever? And every girl that said something, it basically, like, the first two top comments were the complete opposite from each other. And so the guys on Reddit were so confused. They're like, so wait, do we do this or do we do that? Literally, you don't know. You just gotta try and see what works, and if it works, that's awesome. Then keep doing it. If it doesn't, then maybe try something else. But then again, all girls are different. I don't know. I just know what works for me, and sorry, I'm not much help. I just wanted to do the relationship topic because it felt fun. Asking someone out you like very much is very hard. I guess I just fear rejection. How can I get over this fear? That is why I always just say yes to everyone that asks me out, because I feared their fear of rejection. I honestly have never asked anyone out before, so I don't know that feeling. I know the feeling of, like, asking, a photographer if they want to shoot with me, and then they say no. So that's the best way I can throw an example, but I'm sure that's not even the closest example. But as far as rejection goes, if somebody says no, don't take it to the heart. I mean, they have their reasons. It could be, yeah, they blatantly just don't like you or they're not attracted to you. That's the worst case scenario. They're just not attracted to you. The best case scenario of why they would say no is they're just having a really hard time or they're currently in a relationship with somebody else. You gotta not take it hardly. It happens. It happens to everyone in their life at least once. And with the worst case scenario, that it being they're just not attracted to you, then let it be. There's going to be other girls or other guys that are attracted to you, and you're attracted to them as well. I remember, and I'm sorry, this is going to sound really cold-hearted, but I really don't mean it at all. But when I was little, like seriously to the point where I was in elementary school, I remember like people on like radios and TV would be like worried about finding the right one and getting married and all this other stuff. And then I would be walking at the mall or at the park and I'd see these couples together, and neither in my, young elementary school body and mind, I looked at that couple and I realized neither of y'all are attractive. Just, how did y'all end up together? Like, I was so confused when I was younger. And I always kept the idea that it doesn't matter what you look like or who you are, you're going to find that person that works for you. And if you don't, then don't worry about it. They always do say the person that's right for you comes when you least expect it. And I'm sure that is actually true. I mean, I wasn't expecting Francis to come out of the nowhere at the freaking TAD department. Like, it seriously is when you're just not even trying, is when the person comes. And you just gotta make best with what you got. And, I mean, and if, you just gotta be yourself. And the person doesn't like you for that, then they need to fuck off. Like, you'll find somebody that is for you. And as far as rejection, yeah, just, if it makes you really sad or depressed, then go eat a tub of ice cream or watch a movie or hang out with your friends or, do something that's not going to harm your body. I mean, ice cream will harm your body, but not as much as like alcohol or anything like that. Just go do something that's not going to harm your body and just have fun and realize the great in life, the good things that come from being yourself. Do what you love the best. If you find fascination in video games, go play some video games, your favorite ones. Grand Theft Auto. I mean, my favorite one is Sims. I fudging love The Sims. So just go play and have fun and be yourself, and eventually the right person will come to you knocking on your door, and you'll be like, whoa, and they'll start from there. Seriously, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm trying my hardest to be the best, like, relationship advice, The l.shima relationship advice. So, yeah. Sorry for all the ones that think this is a long one. I have had 2 people so far tell me in the past 2 weeks that was a long podcast, but it was really well worth listening to. So I don't know if people like the long ones or not. So I don't really know. I just do whatever until I'm tired or until there's nothing to talk about anymore or until I feel bad for the special guest, because always a special guest problem. I'm like, I should stop talking. So let's just wrap this up because I can talk for hours. I had a crush on this girl at the local Barnes & Noble's coffee shop by my job. She's totally the most adorable person in the world, and she has a boyfriend, but I go there almost every day just to see her because it makes my day. The fact that she makes marvelous drinks is a plus. Laugh aloud. Gosh, Starbucks is expensive, but she's worth it. That is so sweet to read. I don't even know. Oh my God, I'm just imagining you just going up and like, hey, I'm sure you know her name by now. So, hey Sarah, can I have what's the Starbucks lingo? Mocha Frappuccino Grande, and with a, I don't know. That's so romantic though. Oh my God, that's just, man. That's unfortunate that she has a boyfriend though, but if you keep going to Starbucks, maybe one day they won't be together anymore, and that's your chance. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, hey, if that happens, that was meant to be. But obviously, like I said, don't even try it. Don't even front it. If it happens, it happens. But man, it's so sweet. It's a romantic story. And then that'll be awesome if y'all, like, got together and then lived happily ever after. Oh, so sweet. Anyways. Having a girl moment. I'm sorry. I have those moments where I just... Anyways. Tech man to likes. I say tell her in a non-creepy way. I used to tell girls I had a crush on them to get hookups. Oh, so funny. Free movie tickets, discount foods, drinks. It works. Sorry. I'm so sorry, but that's super funny, Tachman. Seriously, like, I don't even know what to think right now. That is silly. I don't think anyone's ever told me when I had a job or like, a normal job, if they had a crush on me and I gave them a discount. I would feel bad if I gave them a discount because I feel like I would be stealing from the store. But the one time I did have a guy, and I hated extended stay, like I already mentioned, but I had a guy when I worked at the front desk, and he was one of the construction workers that, like, would stay at the hotel. Oh my God. He would not stop trying to hit on me and trying to to go on a date with me, to the point where I'm like, seriously, dude, you need to back the fuck up, or I swear I'm going to, like, call the cops, because you need to stop trying. It's not going to work. And I'm wearing my uniform. I'm not wearing anything like this. And always when I was at extended stay, I was never dolled up because I didn't care. So I literally would just like, you're making it awkward. Like, stop. Like, stop. I'm not going to go on a date with you ever, so stop asking me. But man, that's crazy that it worked for you to get free movie tickets and discount foods and drinks. It does. Certain girls, too, will make them feel like so much better about themselves. Like, if they're having a horrible day and somebody says, my God, you're so gorgeous. I really like how you did your hair today. They will love you. Like, I mean, again, not everyone, but especially a girl when they are having a bad day. Like, if I'm having a horrible day and you tell me, I really love your tennis shoes, I'm like, thanks. Like, that was a sweet random compliment you didn't have to give me. Man, that feels so good about myself. Wow, now I can conquer the world. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just funny, though. Does that work for guys if I try to hit on a guy and say that I have a crush on them? Will I get free stuff? I don't ever get free stuff from anyone. Well, I mean, okay, that's a lie. But I, like, when I'm going somewhere, like, when they say models or cute girls go in the clubs, they get, like, free access because they're cute. I've never had that happen to me. I don't even try. I don't use my looks for anything in real life. Like, I don't. It's ridiculous. I don't know how girls do that. Hey, I'm really cute. Can I, I don't do that. No, I do it the hard way, looking like a bitch and then trying to get in. Do you think people marry just to say, hey, I'm married? If that's the reason why people get married, that's a really shitty way of being married. I don't think that would be a reason, but I mean, who knows? I don't know. I don't think that would be a reason why somebody get married. But I can see some people doing that, but I think they'd rather do it for the benefits than to do it just to say it. But yeah. So, oh my God. Anyways, it's getting really late, and I'm so sorry that y'all had to endure this pain of listening to me talk for 2.5 hours. So, I'm going to wrap it up, and I appreciate everyone throwing their little, like, comments and stories and questions. Oh, I love it so much when y'all do that. It's so, like, entertaining when I get to talk to y'all, like, instantly, one-on-one type thing. But before anyone goes real fast, I wanted to inform you of next week's podcast. Drumroll, please. Next week, on episode 12 of Be Cool, I will have special guest Jordan Bunny on an episode. So yay, it's gonna be exciting. She actually slept on this couch right here. So I don't know. I might ask her how comfortable that couch is. Who knows what I'm gonna ask her. But yeah, stay tuned for next week because you don't want to miss it, obviously, because Jordan Bunny in her adorable cute self will be live with me. And also on top of it, the next 2 episodes of Be Cool, I'm going to have a psycho dog with me. Francis will be out of town, and I have to handle a crazy 1-year-old by myself. So I'm going to try to run her like a lot or something, like the entire Wednesday or something before the podcast, so she's like super tired and not going to be psycho during, the time. So hopefully she will be a good dog and not go crazy. But yeah, you might see her in the corner the next 2 episodes or whatever, because typically Andy and Francis go on walks with Akira during this. So yeah, so that's something. So tune in next week for special guest Jordan as well as possibly Akira face. And I will see y'all next week. So like I say, be cool, be sweet, be honest, be yourself, be real. Don't try too hard. And just, again, be yourself. And don't, things will happen. Bad things, good things, whatever. Things will happen and it will move on and you'll have the time of your life and love whatever is surrounding you, and don't try so hard to be the perfect person, because that person does not exist. So, I'm trying to like always end this thing with like something awesome to say, but whatevs. I'm not perfect, see, obviously. So I appreciate everyone that stayed on this long, and I hope you have a fabulous day or night or wherever. So bye everyone, and I will see you soon. Yay! My throat hurts. Bye.
Boom.